Buckeye Cast. The brotherhood, playing for the guy next to you, playing for the team.
What's up, Buckeye Nation? You're tuned in to the Buckeye Cast.
Buckeye Cast. Tradition of Ohio State, we take that serious.
These fellas were born and bred in the Buckeye State.
Buckeye Cast. The people of Ohio, we work every day to make them proud.
Visit us at thebuckeyecast.com and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at the Buckeye Cast.
Buckeye Cast.
Now here's your host, Joe Warwick.
I'm proud to be part of this group. Go Bucks!
What's up, Buckeye Nation? We are back. Got week one under our belts. How's that feel, Sean? Does it feel good under there, under your belt?
Yeah, it feels good. I had to loosen the belt a notch on that one. I tightened it back up late in the game, but yeah.
Yeah, nice. All right.
You know the best thing about 1-0.
Yep. So a wise man once said that gives you the opportunity to go 2-0.
That's right.
As always, folks, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. As always, subscribe, follow us, all that happy shit. Leave us a review if you would. We got a special sale going on at the supply store this week. Meander down there to the TBC Supply Store and take advantage of the BOGO. We got a buy one, get one, Sean.
I saw that. Got that on the interwebs today, I believe.
Yeah.
Email with that and checking out the selection. Placed my order for Ohio against the world.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
That's some high quality merch, peeps.
That's right. It's Tri-Blend, ladies. So use the promo code TBCSSBOGO, TBCSSBOGO when you place your order, and you get a free shirt, free anything you want. Buy one, get one. You know how that works. It's not rocket science. So anyways, we're going to run through this recap of week one with FAU, and then we're going to get into a little game prep for this coming week's game with Cincinnati coming into town, and hopefully we have time to look at some other games around the country, some of the ranked teams that are in action this coming week as well. So anyway, let's jump into this, starting with the beginning of the game. First quarter looked okay. How'd that start off for you, Sean?
I mean, I couldn't believe what I was seeing there. I'm like, holy shit, there's 6 minutes left in the first quarter. We got 28 points. I thought we were going to score like 120. It's like, oh my God, they've got no answer. Just boom, boom, boom. They couldn't do anything on offense.
Yeah.
That's really what I was expecting. Not maybe to that degree, but that crisp, fast offense, and was thoroughly impressed. So obviously it went on from there. But that first 9 minutes of football was as fast as I've ever seen Ohio State start any game.
Yeah,
and they looked pretty good everywhere.
I thought that cover was a lock after fucking first quarter, but not so.
You kidding me?
Yeah. So Fields had the 51-yard touchdown, first touchdown of the season, his first as a Buckeye, obviously. Nice little scamper there off the left side.
How sweet was that?
That was nice. Yeah. I'm not sure he really opened it up. He seemed to be cruising once he hit the linebackers, you know?
Yeah, but even with that stride that looks kind of slow, no one's gaining on him.
Oh, no.
I mean,
not on that team. Yeah. And then he had, 3 touchdowns in a row to Ruckert, Ben Vick, and Olave. Bang,
yeah.
Bang, bang. He was like Harvey Keitel. Bang, bang, bang.
Well, and Rucker and was it Olave just wide? Busted coverage. Running good mesh routes to get the separation and get open there. But
yeah.
Those guys are like jumping up and down in center field,
right.
Crossing their arms like, "Throw me the ball, man."
Yes, yeah. You saw some of those routes they were running a lot of 2 tight end sets and sometimes 3 tight ends, which was interesting to take advantage of the matchups. And Ruckert, I think he's going to have a breakout year. I mean, I realize this is week one, and they always say we're going to use the tight ends, but he's got so much talent and he's so big. I don't know how you keep him out of the game.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think Herb's assessment on that kid was right. I think he's going to be a problem for people.
Yeah. D-line was decimated a little bit with some injuries. Guys like Tyreek Smith and Tyler Friday were listed as game time decisions on Friday. but they did not play Saturday. I think if this would have been, a Big Ten game or an important non-conference, then a tough opponent, then it probably would have played. But it's smarter to just hold them out for one more week or two and get them healthy.
If you don't need them, I mean that, and on top of Cooper being out, so just the DN position in particular was a little thin.
Yeah, so they had to slide Jay Sean out there, but he did well. Had a sack.
He did.
And I mean, Chase sacked him and the quarterback once.
I mean, Jason's a big dude too, man. I couldn't believe how well he played at DN, not practicing it pretty much at all this, spring or fall.
That was his original position when he came in.
Right.
But so I think that's why Larry Johnson felt good about sliding him back out there. You had Okuda with a pass deflection and Chase Young with a sack on back-to-back plays. That's going to happen in the NFL, folks. Get used to those two plays next year. And then Baron Browning was flying around. He did allow a few catches in coverage. So for all the love that we give Baron Browning, let's kind of tamper that down, because he flies around and flies to the ball when he diagnoses a run play, but obviously a liability in coverage.
Yeah, I don't know who he's covering. I'm guessing the tight end. And, if FAU has one bright spot, it's that tight end.
Yeah, they had a couple of good ones.
Decent tight ends.
Yeah,
they got a couple decent guys on that team. Yeah. Browning, again, getting used to it. I thought Malik laid the wood a couple times. Oh, shit.
Yeah, he looked really good.
I was trying to teach my son to form tackle, right there, that one. That's what you want to do to kids.
Right. So, Buckeyes failed to score on their next 7 possessions, though. They had the backwards pass to Garrett Wilson that was nobody covered, and then the fumble by J.K. on his little spin move. That was a terrible, terrible play, and Ryan Day kind of lit him up in the post-game press conference and said, we just can't have that, and J.K. knows that. For all the fireworks in the first quarter, they really kind of put in neutral, and I guess it's kind of human nature when you see a 28-0 up on the scoreboard. But still, you got to play fundamental smart football, right?
Well, on those two plays in particular, the pass to Wilson that was back, and then Wilson standing there, the other dude's fucking standing there, nobody's doing anything. Right. I'm like, on TV, I'm like, that's a live ball, man. Mm-hmm. And these guys aren't moving. That irritated me. You didn't hear a whistle. Somebody get on that ball.
Exactly.
So that was irritating. The Dobbins stuff, yes, I realize that you got to be more secure than that. Dobbins is a big, shifty type of spin move type of running back. I think they're actually being a little hard on him on that. I mean, I think you can nitpick a lot of the other things that happened in that game with J.K. Dobbins. But to focus on that, when a spin move, when half the time, it's like, do you want him to do the spin moves when it, busts open another 15 yards against Michigan, or do you not want him to? Well, so, I mean,
time and place, I think, And
to me, this is the perfect time to do it. It's like, all right, practice my craft. I'm up here in a game that's not competitive. Yeah. And, again, no one likes to see a running back put it on the ground, but guess what? That isn't the last time JK is going to fumble this year.
Right.
And I don't want to get in his grill like, dude, you totally let us down. It's like,
what do you do if this becomes a problem? Like, say he starts first 3 weeks, he has 1 fumble per game. You sit him down?
Again, it would be, a lot of variables there. I mean, if it's a great forced fumble, I mean, sometimes shit's going to happen, man. And you're playing against some good guys that make plays happen. We make guys fumble, good guys, so, I mean, it can happen to us too. Frankly, though, I got to tell you, I'm super high on Master Teague. I think that guy runs like a bull. Yeah. I don't know, I don't think J.K. looked that sharp, frankly, running the football.
I agree.
Blocking. I thought Teague looked like the bigger hungrier running back, if you will. But but the bag on the fumble on Dobbins, I think's a little bit.
Okay. Well, my point is time and place for busting a spin move is not at the line of scrimmage. There's just too many hands and arms and legs around, too many helmets. You bust that thing like Braxton Miller style out in space when there's not a lot of people around you, and you gotta shake one person or two, but there's just too many guys around the line of scrimmage. So,
you hope it's lesson learned, right?
Sure. And I will bang on J.K. for his pass pro. He's the one that allowed Fields to get whacked by that linebacker early in the game on a blitz. That was a missed assignment. So J.K. with a lot to clean up there, in my opinion. You just can't have the turnovers. That will get you benched, I think, quicker than anything.
Well, you can't have the turnovers, but young quarterback has to know that you got that guy, man.
Mm-hmm. That's huge. Yeah, so Buckeyes shut out the Owls on defense, shut them out for their first 8 possessions. They were on fire. Would they go 3 and outs on their first 4 series, I think? So they were flying to the ball. About the tackling, you see all the hats around the ball and the tackling. I was impressed.
Yeah, they are. They're all flying to the ball. They're all running.
Yeah.
I think with the amount of guys that are coming in and out of there, I don't know if that helps, keeps the legs fresh.
Yeah.
It's hard for them D tackles to be chasing shit down all day, man. Hey, I need a blow, coach.
Right. Yeah. Well, typically when we've got a good rotation, that's not a problem, and you can't give them that excuse. But this week with a little bit less depth, I could see taking it easy on them. But I'd just love to see the change in mindset and the sound tackling. We didn't see guys running through tackles for FAU, so that was good. Second half, though,
Browning looked fast out there, man.
He did, yeah. He was making plays. Had TFL, and he actually had the same number of snaps, identical to Tuff Borland. So they are obviously splitting time at middle.
Yeah.
Both had 36 plays. Second half got a little dicey, in my opinion, on the defensive side of the ball, and offense, I think, still was kind of sluggish. They allowed the Buckeye defense allowed a drive down to their own 11 that resulted in a field goal. FAU just marched right down the fucking field. I didn't really care for that. They also had a 15-play, 75-yard drive in the fourth quarter. They gave them that 3-yard touchdown run, and then that whack-ass 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
The dude launched it from like the 30.
How did he not pick that off?
Yeah, he threw it from like the fucking 30, man, like a rainbow.
Across the field.
Right, back to the middle of the field and shit. So, yeah, a couple of things on defense there to clean up. I know some of it was against the twos, and for a while there they had a mix of the ones and twos together. So, probably some things that they need to clean up. I know Halfley after the game, let me mix in some quotes here. He said they stuck with basic personnel and scheme for the entire game, so you didn't see a lot of exotic stuff. And they really just had cover 3 and cover 1, where they would have the corners up pressing the line of scrimmage and pressing the receivers, but then they will bail before the snap, so it was more of a zone. And so that's really all they did. And they ran cover 1 with one safety, and typically that was Jordan Fuller playing center field with like Okuda and Arnett up there playing press man. So kept it really basic defensively. I think the coaches wanted to see these guys for their own eyes and how they would play in these scenarios. And I think the zone is a great way to go. I think because we got fast guys on defense in the secondary, I think you just let them play in space, right?
Well, I don't think anything's the perfect D. I think the perfect combination of zone, press, man zone, all the little different wrinkles. I think you keep it creative and don't become one-dimensional, like a la Michigan last year, where
Right.
they wouldn't get away from their man coverage on our crossing routes, and that's fine against Akron,
Right.
but against Paris Campbell, that shit don't work, bro.
Yeah, that was a definite speed difference we saw across the entire offense versus their defense last year. So yeah.
So that being said, I mean, the Buckeyes in this game, they could have went press man the whole game and done just fine because it's FAU. But when you play a Penn State or whoever's looking good later on in the year, you're going to need to mix it up a little bit. And that kind of relieves me that you said that. They didn't throw too many exotic things out there. Because I'm like, look at all these crazy freaking stunts FAU's doing, man, to get to our quarterback. There's guys looping around and blitzing freaking everywhere.
Right. Yeah. And
I think Ohio State's like, hey, you know what? We keep it vanilla. We don't need to get tricky this game.
Yeah. Yeah, the O-line for the Buckeyes did have some breakdowns in communication and stuff. And I know Ryan Day.
That was my low point of the team, I feel.
Ryan Day actually said after the game that he wasn't happy with the O-line, but then on Tuesday he said, I actually, after watching the film, was more pleased with the way the offensive line blocked than I felt coming off the field. So I'm not sure where the breakdowns are.
It looked better when you're playing it in slow motion than it did live. That's fine. I saw a few times where we're trying to run the ball and we're getting no push on FAU guys.
Exactly.
And I saw that. Don't tell me I didn't see that, because I saw it multiple times.
Right. And the free blitzers coming through, and Fields had to scramble quite a bit, honestly. When he had to drop
popped
back.
A couple times. Got popped.
Yeah, he said on Tuesday that his body was sore as hell, sore as has ever been. He said his quote was crazy sore from the hits he took in Saturday's game. A lot of that's because he hasn't really been hit, since high school probably. So
right.
We got to keep him cleaner.
I agree. I mean, he needs to make, first game, he needs to make some quicker, better decisions.
Yeah.
Get rid of that ball. He took that one sack. It's like, dude, throw the ball over the sideline, man.
Yeah.
It's a 5-yard sack or whatever it was. But yeah, back to the O-line. To me, they didn't get great push on the run block, and they didn't keep Fields upright.
Yeah.
For the most part, I mean, how many sacks did we give up? Couple, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how many.
But like you said, he was scrambling around there a lot, and I'm not sure how good of a passer he is scrambling around.
Well, yeah, most quarterbacks aren't great passers when they're scrambling. It looks like they got 2 sacks on the day, but yeah, most QBs, when they're off their platform, they're going to have a harder time. But yeah, looking at the snaps real quick, Fields was in there for pretty much the entire game except the last drive. They rotated 10 O-linemen.
I love that.
Yeah, young guys on defense. You got Zach Harrison in there for 24. Noah Potter was in there for 8. Antoine Jackson for 18 and Jerron Cage for 14. It's good to see those guys getting some time.
For sure.
This was interesting to me under the snaps category. Pete Werner led the defense with 60. So that tells you what the coaches think of him, right?
And me. I'm telling you, Pete Werner is a freaking ball player.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's the best at anything he does, but he's good at everything.
Well, obviously they had him in there covering the tight end and slot receivers, So Malik was right behind him with 53, and like I mentioned earlier, Tuff and Baron Browning were at 36 each. That was the most important one to me because I wanted to see, who was the middle linebacker, who was getting the snaps, and then Taraja had 25, and went.
That's nice. I saw that. That's nice too.
Yeah. So, didn't see Taraja do a lot. He's not as fast as the other two, in my opinion. But we'll see how things play out.
But that's some serious snaps. I mean, you think most garbage time games, and again, I think they kept Fields in too long. I think they ran him a couple times, and I'm like, get him out of there, man. What the fuck's going on here?
Well,
but 25 snaps in a game, usually garbage time games, the guy's in there and gets 7.
right.
You know, but 25 snaps, that's and all those 18s and 20s, that's legitimate playing time.
Right. Yeah, I think the thing going back to Fields, you mentioned, Ryan Day said after the game that he was in there for like 74 plays. He said he wished it was 174 because they need to get him in-game experience as much as possible. Now, we always talk about, you know, the balance between the in-game experience and exposing him to injury, you know, and like we also talked about, that goes back to the O-line and pass pro, you know, including the running backs. So I see where Day's coming from. I think you got to keep him in the game so he can get more playing time, because, you know, practice obviously is not the same as live bullets on the field.
Okay, but now he's sore as shit, and that's fine, and I get that argument, and, you know, it's where do you draw it, where's that fine line,
right.
and I get what Dave's saying, and maybe he's concerned, like, man, this kid needs to see more live action, and I respect that, but I don't feel a couple times he ran there late in the game, and I think one was, like, designed, or maybe more than one, and so, you know, what's he running it for? I mean...
Yeah, I would agree in the second half he shouldn't be running any read options. I think he had, like, I want to say 11 carries, 12 carries. If you take the 51-yarder out of the equation, he had 11 carries for 10 yards.
Yeah.
So, and that includes sacks.
Stuff there.
That includes sacks, though. So he had a couple of those. But anyway, all in all, I would say a solid game. I'd give the team overall a B. In my opinion, there are things to work on, but you probably, as a head coach like Ryan Day, probably wants things to work on and not put up 77-0, you know, where you're like looking for things to pick at.
Well, I look at it this way. It certainly wasn't a complete game. If you take the first 9 minutes out of that game,
right,
and show me just the next 51, I'm freaking out about the Buckeyes.
Sure.
that they were able to open up and do that so quick with that talent. No, I'm feeling good. I'd put it about at a B too.
Yeah, if you look at it, they only scored 17 in the second half. That's not good. It's not great. JK.
No, especially when you got all those athletes, and I mean, come on, you got to start just pushing these guys around and imposing your will on them.
And I got no problem with trying to salt the game away and all that, but JK didn't get it done with 90 yards on 21 carries. That's just over a 4-yard average, man. You could put some of that on the O-line, but I don't know. I think he's still looking for that home run ball, personally, which he said he was guilty of last year.
Oh, instead of just getting the extra, the 3 guarantee yards, you're going for the fucking jump cut,
right?
Or the spin move to try and get the 70.
Yep, get the 3, get the 5, get the 7, and then the 20 and 30 and 40 will come, you know. Yeah, he looks like every snap he's just trying to go the distance, and I don't think he's gotten rid of that mindset yet. So, like I said, all in all, I give that a B. Lots of things to clean up. Defense, I don't know. There's not a lot to clean up. I would say you can't give up 21 to FAU and say that's okay.
No,
even in a base defense. But I was happy with the tackling and pursuit, and Did have Proctor with the INT late in the game.
Practice how you play, though. They're saying he's picking them off all the time in practice,
Right.
and boom, you get him in there, and he finds the ball. That kid's
Exactly.
going to be something.
And he was only in for 6 snaps. The last 6. So, yeah, just you can't bench Fuller, you know. I mean, all you can do is give him some rest. So
Well, and I mean, and maybe Proctor's not there, but yeah, give the guy a blow.
right. We got a quick touch on DeMario. Loved his return game. Didn't really care for the 2 rushes he had for 11 yards, and he did have 1 catch for 7.
I'd like to see him be out there and I don't know, get some more carries. His return game was sick.
Yeah,
That's what I've been expecting out of that guy for years.
right.
That's it. And I just want to see if you can get that guy 8 carries, 8 touches.
Yeah, he had on his punts he had 2 for 40. It's a nice little 20-yard average. Helps when he had one was for 35. On kickoffs, he had 3 for 52, so not a great kickoff return there. Longest was 26.
He had that one. He had that one that was pretty good, didn't he?
He had 1 for 26. That was probably the best. Yeah, so all in all, a decent game. Everybody contributed for the most part. Defense, I think, was limited. They didn't play a lot of dudes until the very end of the 4th quarter. So we'll see how things adjust going forward. No major things Ryan Day had to mention other than what I brought up. He did say his favorite play by Justin Fields was when he threw the ball away on 3rd down. His quote was, "To me, that's my favorite play of the game because he understands what it means." Meaning Justin Fields understands that throwing the ball away and not taking a sack is not the end of the world. Sounds crazy to fans, but it's important, I guess.
It is, especially for a young quarterback. He probably wouldn't have been saying that about JT if JT didn't already know that.
Yeah,
He'd be pissed. But new guy, you can see where he's coming from.
right. So yeah, the main things he needs to work on, according to Ryan Day, was protections. Making the adjustment pre-snap to set up protections, and then some of his reads on the read option. And he needs to work on his timing with receivers so that they're on the same page when he's scrambling specifically. So something they can work on as the season goes on. Hopefully they get some cohesion going there.
That'll be all right.
So Cincinnati coming into town Saturday, ABC at noon, coming into the shoe. You know that we know Luke Fickell's the head coach. Everybody knows this. He's all-time Buckeye great. Had the 50 starts in a row. Blah blah blah. Was the head coach when Tress was fired / resigned. You say tomato. I say he was fired. So the Cincinnati team. Remember when D'Antonio was there, and still D'Antonio still uses the same fucking motivation to his players. So Luke's gonna bang the same drum. I like to call it the D'Antonio drum of motivation, and it goes like this: "You had dreams of playing at Ohio State, but they didn't want you." Right?
Pretty much.
So, the Bearcats even have a fancy little countdown clock in their locker room. So that's cute.
Is a bearcat a real animal, or is that like a fantasy animal?
It does sound weird.
It can't be a real animal.
Like a griffin?
Like a feline and a bear? That shit can't
Yeah.
happen.
Right. Yeah, that's weird. Anyway, the Ohio State ties go like this. Like I mentioned, Fickle, we all know all of his bio. But then their D coordinator, Marcus Freeman, former Buckeye linebacker, great as well. Played under Luke Fickle. Fickle was the linebacker coach from 04 to 08 when Freeman was playing. Safeties coach, John Tenuta, forgot about him. He was Ohio State's DB's coach back in the late 90s, 96 to 99, and was coordinator for a year. Coach Maratti's son actually is an assistant with the Bearcats, like a operations and video assistant.
And didn't I hear Mariotti's old assistant, his number 2 guy, is also there in the weight room running that program. So, I mean, I guarantee they got a serious fucking weight program.
Right.
This guy's like a guy out of Mariotti's cloth.
Right. They do have 3 former Ohio State players that transferred. Most notably and most memorably, Blue Smith was a 4-star receiver, transferred to Cincy in the off season. He was with the Buckeyes for just 1 year, didn't get any playing time. The other guy is Garen Prater. He was a walk-on and now is a scholarship player for Cincy. And there's some guy named Joe Schroer. Anyway, I could be here all night trying to say that name. He's a reserve D tackle. All in all, they've got 74 Ohio-born players on their roster.
How many are on a roster?
They probably got 100 and some. So
how many scholars you got? 84?
Right. Then you got scout team and all that shit.
Right. Yeah.
So probably 100, 110 maybe.
Good football in Ohio, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of Ohio kids, especially since Cincinnati's located in Kentucky. Kentucky's not horrible. They do have the best bourbon in the world. Offensively, anybody that watched the UCLA game last week knows about their quarterback, Ritter. He was named the Rookie of the Year in 2018. He had 2,400 yards, 20 touchdowns, ran for 500 yards. So the kid's got some mobility to him. Pro Football Focus has him ranked as the 23rd best starting quarterback. He doesn't suck entirely. The running back is
the
running back is more intriguing to me. He did look like he got dinged last week late against UCLA, and we'll see how he feels this week. Anyway, he's a former Mr. Football in Ohio back in 2016 from the Toledo area.
It's crazy when Mr. Ohio footballs can't get a Buckeye offer.
Right. Ran for 1,300 yards and 19 TDs last year. 4th highest in FBS last year.
Those 2 are legitimate players. Now, the other thing you got to answer me is, how about their O-line?
Yeah, I can't answer you that.
I think they're going to have a tough time running on us. I hope I'm right. That kid, it'll be interesting to see how we can do with a quarterback that's mobile like this, that's got some talent. Yeah, I would imagine that up front they don't have the depth and the quality of players from left to right across the O-line that Ohio State has. I can't imagine they have somebody that's going to match up with a Chase Young or Jonathan Cooper or whoever subs in for them. Is Cooper back?
They won't tell us till Friday, so everything's on lockdown. We got fucking national secrets in the Woody. So regardless, if it's Tyler Friday, if it's Tyreek Smith, I doubt they have anybody on their O-line that's going to match up with them either. Defense, right. Marcus Freeman has the 8th in the nation in points allowed per game at 17.2. That's respectable.
That's legit.
Yeah. 11th in yards allowed per game at 303.5. And 13th in yards allowed per play at 4.7. Those are all legit numbers. That'll play in NCAA football.
That is good. I mean, obviously, different competition, but of course a Luke Fickle defense is going to be good. A Mark D'Antonio defense. It's going to be aggressive. It will be a much more challenging defense than FAU, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they have 7 returning starters on defense. They are without their safety, James Wiggins. He tore his ACL and is going to miss the entire year.
Sorry, man.
Yeah. So still, they got some quality players coming back. So I could see that being a huge challenge for the Buckeye offense.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll put enough pressure on Fields. We'll see how he reacts under some pressure, and a little faster, probably more aggressive defense. I don't know though. Kiffin was throwing the kitchen sink at us, I feel so.
Well, I think Fickle's going to have a few more tricks up his sleeve than FAU, and a little bit better quality players on defense. They're a bunch of fast kids, maybe a little smaller, but definitely going to fly around to the ball. So things to keep in mind for the Buckeye offense. Score predictions, are you sticking by yours?
Yeah, what was mine?
Well, the spread's down to 16 right now. Buckeyes favored. And over-under is 55.5. Yours was 31-24, so bang, right on that 55 number.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with that. That's a fucking beautiful thing. One little caveat. I was on some network's thing that analyzes the matchups between the teams, and they got an indicator of percentages to win, and it's like 75% Buckeyes and 25% Cincinnati. Right. I thought that's a little bit scary to me. They think 25% chance. So by happenstance, I clicked on the I know you might bring it up later. I clicked on the Michigan Army game on the same website. Michigan's got like a 99.2% chance to win that game. I'm like, what?
Really?
98 point against Army.
Oh. Huh.
Something just doesn't seem right to me with those percentages. Who's coming?
Right.
What computer's coming up with that shit?
Yeah, I think that computer lives in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, no shit.
So I think I'm going to stick with my prediction. I think this is a close game early, but I think the Buckeyes pull away just because of the talent difference, and I think we clean up a lot of things, especially on offense. So I'm sticking with mine, 45-13, mark it down. Buckeyes cover in week 2, even though they didn't in week 1. Who do you got your microscope on offense?
Well, I'd love to say it's the offensive line, but that's not sexy. Who wants to look at those fat bastards? So I'm going to put it on J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah.
I think he needs to have a better game. I want to see better blocking. I want to see better running. So we'll see a better game. And part of that's going to be dependent on the O-line.
Sure. Yeah, on offense, I'm going to go with Fields. I think he needs to have a really clean, spotless game. I know he didn't have any turnovers last week, but you're not going to have these wide open windows to throw the ball. You're not going to have these gaping holes where I could run through there 50 yards. So, I think Fields is my focus. He's got to be ready for a lot of crazy shit because Fickle and Marcus Freeman are defensive dudes that have called a lot of defense against good teams.
The one, my honorable mention, I guess, would be KJ Hill. He was, kind of quiet in the opening game. I thought he would be featured a little more and get some more looks than he did.
Yeah, he did have a big drop down there near the inside the 10. So how about on defense? Who do you have your microscope on?
On defense, I'm going to put it on Cooper. I guess I don't even know if he's playing, but I want to see a slide Jayson back down, get Cooper on the end with Young, rotate those guys in at D-tackle all day and at D-end, frankly, but I just want to see Cooper come back and finish the year strong. I think hopefully if he's playing, this is where it starts.
Yeah.
Who did I pick last week, by the way?
You had we got breaking news. 2 players lose their black stripes. Freshman offensive lineman Enoch Vamahi and DeJuan Jones. DeJuan Jones down.
DeJuan Jones, the big boy.
Yeah. He's down to 360. DeJuan Jones is down, lost weight to 360 from 380.
And that Inoki dude is solid too, man.
Yeah.
That's good news.
Yeah. So maybe we'll see them get in the game. Anyways, defensive microscope for me. I got the big man in the middle, Devon Hamilton. I think he's underrated. Doesn't get a lot of camera time, and I think we're going to need a strong run defensive presence here against Cincy, and dare their quarterback to beat us.
That's where Cooper comes in.
Yeah.
Smash his ass.
Yeah.
He's going to have to contain. That kid can run.
Yeah, I would go with Chase, but he seems like the obvious option. I mean, I didn't think they were going to give him any room to breathe last week, but he was beating everybody.
Yeah.
Flying around, but...
So here's a little caveat. I don't know if this is out there on the interwebs. It must be. But last night at poker, taking money from all these Spartan fans, and they said about chatting college football a little bit during the game and talking about Ohio State's got Cincinnati here this week. They seem to think that Luke Fickell might be the coach in waiting after D'Antonio wraps it up.
Yeah. Maybe. I mean, he followed D'Antonio there at Cincy, right? I guess that's an easy one.
Got at some point, Fickell just went 11-1. If he has a decent year, which he's going to in that conference, he's going to start getting some big time offers.
Yeah, well, he had a big offer this offseason. He was offered the West Virginia job.
Who wants that job? West Virginia is not where you can. A guy like Fickell could go to Michigan State and be there for 20 years.
Right. I'm not sure he wants to go to Michigan State. I think he's going to get better offers than that. I think eventually he could get offered things like Notre Dame, big jobs. I think Michigan State is not much of an upgrade from Cincinnati, personally.
But it is. But yeah, you're right. He might
Just
be
my
getting
opinion.
The USC's.
I know
the UCLA's.
D'Antonio's kind of built it up, but he's actually kind of let it slide, in my opinion, the last couple of years, especially offensively.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. I think D'Antonio might be getting a little long in the tooth, but Sparty makes their bones by getting Ohio kids.
Sure.
Who'd better to get Ohio kids than Luke Fickell?
Oh yeah, he'd be great at that, and he'd motivate them the same way he would at Cincinnati, same way D'Antonio does there now. But
you think? But I don't know. I'm so salty about him and what he did with Tressel's team that Herb turned around and goes undefeated with.
Dude, it's not the same team. It's not even the same team. He lost his quarterback, number one receiver, his left tackle, and running back.
So that means you go 500 against in the Big Ten that was shitty? You still got more talent than everybody fucking out there, essentially.
Right. He was thrown into the fire, man. He wasn't ready for that. I got no problem with what he did. It wasn't his fault. Anyway, we got to get into these.
I felt bad for him there for a while, but
Sure.
I mean, come on, you remember that season?
Mm-hmm.
You were thinking the same. I'm like, what the fuck? Why can't you? And just I don't know. The team wasn't together. It was just a bad vibe, and who doesn't love Luke Fickell?
I think a lot of guys also checked out mentally.
Yeah, I do too.
They were getting ready for the NFL, those that could go. And besides the suspensions, Depot, DeVere Posey, we lost him for like 10 games. The number one receiver. And then we had to start Braxton. Or Bowserman actually started the season. Remember Bowserman? Yeah. And then, so we had to bring in Braxton because Bowserman's throwing it all over the goddamn stadium. Remember those passing charts? Let's get into these week 2 games. A couple big national games, real quick. We got Army coming into the big house. How do you see this one going?
I see this one going. It's going to be a tough game. I want to believe that Army has got a good team. They're returning most of the team. The team was pretty good last year. Would it take Oklahoma like triple overtime? Mm-hmm. That's not a shitty team. Right. Depends on how they get going with that run option. But then I look at last week, and they barely squeaked by Rice. So they're going to have to pick it up. But it's going to be a bitch for Michigan regardless, because that triple option, I think when I looked or was listening to the radio, the kid Army threw 8 times, was 3 of 8 for 60 yards. Right. They're just going to keep hammering at you. And, when you're playing them schools, you hope you get out alive and don't get too beat up.
Yeah, they're fundamentally sound. They're not going to beat themselves, and they're not going to quit. That's for sure. So
no, they're not going to quit.
If you got a close game in the fourth quarter, you better play 4 fucking quarters and then some if you need to. But my concern was with the Michigan defense. They gave up over 300 yards to Middle Tennessee State, and they were 35-point favorites. I mean, I know Michigan controlled the game for the most part, except for the first fumble of the game was on the first play of the game, and Middle Tennessee went down and scored. But anyway, I think I am not touching this 22-point spread. Matter of fact, I might go with Army on that one.
I love Army in the points.
Yeah. Even at the big house, I don't give a shit. They came into the shoe and played us tough.
I mean, Michigan's run D looked fairly good, but they didn't play a team that's going to run the ball like this Army team.
No.
Again, and you so got to prep for it. I mean, they're people are bitching about they've got a bye next week. You're lucky you have a bye after you're playing Army.
Be thankful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have their hands full. I think, much like our game, I think Michigan will just have too much talent at the end.
Right.
And it won't matter much. But Michigan, to me, does not look sharp. They really don't.
No. They don't know what they're doing at quarterback. They're fucking around, bringing in McCaffrey for a couple drives and a couple plays, trying to split him out. They're trying to split out Shea Patterson. It's like, what the fuck? Do you guys even know what you are offensively? It doesn't seem like it.
I think that McCaffrey's probably better than Shea Patterson. I just think Shea's been there, and it's like, you're my guy, and I still got McCaffrey for a couple years, but McCaffrey's probably better than him already.
Yeah.
He doesn't impress me much. I noticed they didn't have Peoples-Jones in that game. I don't know what's wrong with him, or if they expect him to come back, but that makes a difference too.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he'll be back yet. He had a leg injury. Suddenly, colleges are so hush-hush with their injury reports that we don't hear shit until like game time. The other big game, though, we got Texas A&M going to Clemson. Spread right there is 17.5. This one's interesting to me because A&M gave them a ball game last year. That was at home, though. So A&M put up some serious points, though, with Kellen Mond. He put up, what did they score, 41 last week? He put up almost 500 yards of passing. Total offense.
They did? What was the score of their game?
They had Texas State. They won 41-7. So not a tough opponent there, but they gave Clemson a ball game last year. Clemson, Clemson, I mean, they are who they thought they were. Put up 600 yards total offense last week.
Yeah, great. It's going to be one of Clemson's 2 tough games all freaking season.
Right. I would say Sunshine didn't look so great last week. Had a couple picks.
Oh, did he?
So, I mean, they were still able to rally against Georgia Tech and win 52-14, right?
I was hoping that'd be a little better game. I don't know. Clemson's got to show a chink in the armor, man.
Over under 64, so they expect this to be a high-scoring affair. I don't know. At Clemson D, this will be a good test for them, though.
Their whole D-line was drafted in the first round. They can't be as good as last year. They can't.
Right. But they probably will be.
Not all of them.
We'll see if
two of them probably are better.
Right. This will probably be a big test for their secondary and their back seven. The other big one is LSU at Texas. Joey Burrow going into Austin as a favorite, 6.5-point favorite.
Nice. Still pulling hard for Joey B.
I'm not sure that bodes well, though, because Texas is really good as an underdog. Tom Herman basically jacked the entire Ohio State and Urban Meyer program. So he knows how to motivate guys when they're an underdog. And he'll be taking a few pages out of the Urban Meyer motivational playbook. LSU's a big favorite. It's an evenly matched game the way I see it. We'll see how things play out. Joey B had a big game last week, 5 touchdowns. Ellinger had 4. This is very evenly matched.
I gotta go Joey B and LSU on this one. Herman is, he's got that program in the right direction, no doubt. But Herman doesn't win big games.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
He ain't a closer like Herb was.
They did beat Georgia in the bowl game last year. Those are the 3 big ones I got on my radar. Do you want to go over any others, or do you want to talk about conferences last week?
No, the Big Ten looked good overall, right? Sparty in our division looked like shit. That offense, their defense is lights out.
Right.
It's a playoff caliber defense that is going to be so wasted on a shitty offense again.
Right.
If all the Sparty fans I talk to, they're seriously concerned about their chances of success against better teams. We had Penn State blowout. How the hell does the new Penn State team score? What did they score? 79?
Yeah.
A million? Whiskey dominated. Everybody looked good except our nemesis, Purdue.
And Northwestern. They look like shit. I see why.
I don't know. That's a tough game, though.
Dude, I see why Clemson let Hunter Johnson go. He had a quarterback rating of fucking 4 for the game.
Yeah, I saw his numbers were awful.
They pulled him in the first half, and the guy got hurt, his backup. So they had to put him back in. They combined, those 2 quarterbacks, 12 of 27 for 117. No touchdowns, 2 picks. That guy sucks.
And they were in the game till the very end at Stanford, first game. That ain't an easy game, man.
Exactly.
But he does suck. For coming in and the hype, this 5-star kid from Clemson, yeah. I think, what's his name, needs to hire himself a quarterback coach.
They may want to invest in some receivers.
Hope the old linebacker isn't coaching quarterbacks.
Right. Yeah, Nebraska, for all the hype, they won by a couple touchdowns, but they needed a couple special teams touchdowns to take that win from South Alabama, and they once again didn't get over 300 yards offense. I thought Adrian.
That's not good. The hype that's been on that team with Adrian Martinez and Frost. We'll see.
Right.
They got chances to turn it around.
It's
early. I don't think if we would have kept that first 9 minutes going, I would have said we look like the best in the country. But I feel like everybody, had some first game mistakes. Even all the quality teams, where you hate to be too harsh first game, but
that's all right. We're in that business.
Rutgers won.
Sure did.
Rutgers locked down their 1 win for the year.
Yeah. How about the SEC? See this? SEC had 3 double-digit favorites lose in Week 1. Favorites. Ole Miss lost to Memphis 15-10. UNC beat South Carolina 24-20. And Tennessee, old Rocky Top, lost to Georgia State 38-30. You believe that shit? Missouri lost to Wyoming. And mighty Auburn led the game against Oregon for all of 9 seconds.
Right.
Even though they did get the dub on some horrible game management. Did you watch that game?
I did not.
Oregon's
Did not
head
know
coach is a
that.
fucking moron, and he's had these game management issues in the past. Mario Cristobal. He needs to use a crystal ball because he cannot see the future for shit. He could have run plenty of time off the clock with their last possession. They were snapping the ball with 11 seconds on the play clock, 9 seconds, and Auburn threw that game-winning touchdown with 9 seconds left in the game, where Oregon could have easily bled that. Terrible game management. Great play by the freshman, Bo Nix, for Auburn. Got him down there quickly. I think he threw a 25-yard touchdown or something like that. So, yeah, the mighty SEC doesn't look so fucking mighty once you get outside of Tuscaloosa and Athens. Arkansas.
Florida and Miami.
Exactly. Gators struggled with the Canes. There's nobody in that fucking conference outside of, and even LSU. I'll give you them. Georgia, Bama. Who else is there? This is not a balanced conference. I'll take the Big Ten against the SEC right now. Give me your worst against our worst, and all the way up the line to the top teams.
I'd do that. We got Bama though. That ain't got that.
That's fine. That's fine. Michigan versus LSU, or Michigan versus Georgia. Penn State versus LSU or Georgia. I don't know.
Those are all, those are coin flips, or
exactly. Maybe
even SEC might even have a little advantage there. But after that, yeah. I think we start getting the advantage. That's why ours at top to bottom is probably tougher. Throwing a Whiskey or Nebraska or Michigan State, Iowa in any given year. Northwestern's going to fucking play you tough.
Right. I could think of half the Big Ten that could beat Auburn right now. Tennessee, those bastards.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about Tennessee because who'd they lose to?
Georgia State.
Oh.
Yeah. The mighty have fallen. They are just a sad program right now, man.
Tennessee, I know. But they better hire old retired Peyton Manning to turn that shit around.
I don't know if he wants any part of that. That place is a train wreck.
It is. And, I mean, every dirty thing you see coming out of Tennessee, they got to have some sanctions coming at some time.
Right.
You got, hookers at the fucking welcoming the recruits and shit.
Of course. Yeah, and to jump over to the ACC, they're fucking terrible. Outside of Clemson, who else is there? FSU, they suck. They got beat at home by Boise State. Players were complaining of not being in shape. Boise State ran a super up-tempo offense, but they had over 100 plays on offense. Still, you got to be fucking ready for it, man. You live in Florida. Don't complain about the humidity.
They're breathing that thin up there at Boise, man. They're like, all right, you want to get us down on sea level, dude? We'll breathe this air all day. It's like super oxygen to us.
Yeah, they probably thrive in the humidity. But
FSU, FSU's garbage.
Yeah. They hired a mediocre mid-level coach that could recruit Florida a little. I think this is going to have a major effect on their recruiting classes going forward. Wouldn't be surprised if Jalen Knighton might do a little flipperooski up to Columbus. Wouldn't be surprised to see him chuck it in reverse there.
Well, you never know who's going to burn down the house when they get fired this year. Huh. There's always a few, and those schools got good recruits sometimes, and we'll take them.
Exactly. Yeah, I could see a few people defecting from the SEC. How about that?
Big Ten's where it's at. Yeah. Get your ass up here. Play in the cold.
How about switching over to the NFL? Zeke and Michael Thomas, highest paid running back and wide receiver in the league. Zeke just...
Yeah, that ain't going to hurt recruiting.
Nope. Zeke just inked a monster deal. $90 million, $50 million guaranteed, dude.
Way to go ahead and get yours, Zeke.
Yep.
I would never pay a running back that much money, but dang, you did it, bro.
Yep. So,
guaranteed? All that guaranteed?
Yeah.
Whew. Good on you.
Right. Yeah, the Buckeyes haven't taken a second since Zeke signed that that contract, they already got their social media fired up and cranking out some photos and graphics with the trucks full of money backed up, dumping it in front of Zeke and Michael Thomas. So good to see. Definitely doesn't hurt. All right,
Tough
Buckeye
game
fans.
coming up.
Yeah?
Let's go. Get it done.
Yeah, this is a good one. This is a good test coming this week against the Bearcats. That's what it is. It's not Bearcats. It's been Bearcats all this time. We were reading it wrong. They're cats that serve beer. Anyway, don't forget, rate, review, subscribe. Visit the supply store, thebuckeyecast.com. We got you a BOGO. It's going to be here for a short time, so hurry up. Get your shirts for the season. TBCSSBOGO is your promo code. And we will see you next week. We're going to try and get these out on Mondays going forward. Sean, thank you for joining us again.
Yes, sir.
Fans, thank you for joining us together, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.